Hey everyone, Steen from OysterGro here. Got Kyle and Lewis from the Aquafab team, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting together a LowPro hybrid shift with stealth floats and yellow gators. So first off, you need 2 floats. That comes with the kit, so that's what Lewis has got there, 2 of those. You need 2 parts of the cage, no shelf in this because it's a single layer, so there's a top and there's a bottom. Carl's holding the top, that's the part that the float's attached to. Also in the kit is 2 dividers with the snap fit feature. Also the gators. Also on top of that we have the nut and bolt kit. So all marine grade stainless with the injection molded isolators that are on there, basically to make sure there's no contact from the stainless steel to the aluminum structure of the cage. Why? Because we don't want the galvanic effect to start any corrosion. So let's get into assembling it. So first off, the cage gets sandwiched together. We have these little interlock features built into the cage to make sure everything lines up. And what you're doing is you are putting the dividers in place. They basically go into the slugs there, go into and fit in and over, and then it slides backwards. And then there's a nice little snap fit, basically as they're in. And once they're in, they won't come out because you've got that snap feature in there. See, Lewis is tugging on there and no problem with it coming out. Next up, you start putting bolts in. So what you're doing is you're lining everything up and just pushing the bolts through. So 1, 2, 3, and Carl's basically on number 4. That's all the bolts in. Sleeves are already over the bolts, so you don't have to worry about that. Now we're putting the washers and the lock nuts. So we use a nylock nut to lock everything in place. Nylon is water absorbent, so what tends to happen is a nylock will lock anyway, but as it takes on water, it locks even tighter, so those things aren't coming apart. Then once you've got it all lined up, ratchet wrench. Don't use an impact because sometimes they're set a little bit too high, and basically what you don't want to be doing is snapping the bolts, which is easily done with those pieces of equipment. So basically you're just wrenching them together. As you can see, both Carl and Lewis are doing that concurrently, and we are about just over a couple of minutes into the build now. Carl's doing the last one. And once they're all tightened down, that is basically the cage part assembled. Now before we get too excited and want to put the floats on, we put the gators on. So basically the gators are going underneath, they're fitting underneath the float. You can put them back on once the cage is built, but it is a little tricky. Now, one thing to make sure you do is when you are putting the gators on, always put the clip in the knot, so you're pulling against the bungee around the bar and not trying to pull the knot apart. So as you can see there, that's exactly how you want to install a gator. It's super strong that way, but if you do pull the gator and it's to the side, it basically, as the bungee narrows, it can slide out of the clip. This way, it doesn't, so make sure you do that. Anyway, let's crack on. So now they're going to put the floats on. The gators are in place. So we have 1 float. Notice that the slots in the float line up with the bars that run across. So 1 float. Two strands per float. Strands come over and the strands slide into those receders there. You can see that the strand is basically bent not only in 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, so it gives you a pre-bend there. Now, with your kit comes a wrench, and then basically what you're doing is you are bending the strand up. And that's about enough. As you can see, that's now nicely hooked over. Now what really ties it in is when Lewis does exactly the same on the inside. Over his shoulder here. And then just wind it back over. And that strand is done, and that is really tight. Now over to Carl's side, Carl will do exactly the same on his side. So one side, pull it over, and away she goes. And then I'll get the inside shot now, so you can see it on the inside. So you have to do a little bit of tugging and twisting just to get everything lined up. Once the bar's on, the socket on the bar's on, and basically you can see it just pulled down and snug on that float, nice and tight. That float is on there, it is not going anywhere. So now basically what needs to happen is exactly the same on the other side. And what we're looking at here is the back of the cage. So these are what we refer to as the bag stops. So they can move, but they're fully contained in the top, so there's no movement there. So the guys, while I've been talking, the guys have already got the other float on the other side, and they're starting to do the strand installation there. One side done of that one. Wiggle it around, line it up. That side done. Now over to Lewis's side, I'll come around. So this is the front of the cage where the gaiters are. On the back. So this is our LowPro, as I said, and basically it holds 2 full-size OysterGro bags. Fully contained, there's no way the bags can get out from the sides, the back, or anything like that. So there you have it. The cage is complete. Didn't take too long to put together. It's pretty straightforward. Comes with an instruction guide, and we like to put these videos together just because anything that you guys find helpful, we're absolutely willing to do. Anyway, there you go. LowPro cage with stealth floats, yellow gaiters, hybrid shift, all done and dusted, ready to hit the water.